Thank you for being a friend.
Hello everybody. I hope everybody is doing good. Thank you for coming back to another class with Chef Rob. Today we're going to make some brunch chocolate chip scones with a vanilla drizzle on top. If you like minis, they're perfect to make as minis or the regular size scones as well. If you're making them with us, please put on your oven to 375 right now. Let's start with the dry ingredients. You're going to want a large bowl first. You're going to take 2 full cups of the all-purpose flour. Make sure they're nice and level. Like that. And a 1/4 cup of the granulated sugar. Make sure that is measured out correctly. You want the full amount. 2 teaspoons of the baking powder. That's what's going to give it a nice rise to the scones. Make sure that's level, very important. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You're just going to take a whisk and just kind of mix all these ingredients up really well. And then we're going to take 1 stick, so it's a 1/2 cup of very cold unsalted butter. If you can put it in the freezer for about a ½ hour before you start, that would be perfect. So I am going to take that right now. I just took this out of the freezer. And I am just going to grate this with a box grater right in here. If you don't have a box grater handy, you can always take a knife and just kind of cut it up really small, or a pastry cutter. Either one would be fine. So what we're going to do is just mix this all together till it becomes nice coarse crumbs. Okay, so we're just going to toss the butter and the flour, and it'll kind of resemble nice coarse crumbs. By using the box grater, just makes it really quick, really easy to do. And then you're going to want to get a 1/2 cup of heavy cream and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract ready. Having the heavy cream in here really is important. Okay, 1/2 and 1/2, and regular milk will not do the trick. So please use the regular ingredients. Okay, this is nice and tossed. I'm going to put in a 1/2 cup now, the heavy cream. And now just measure out a 1/4 teaspoon, just a little bit, of the vanilla extract. And we're just going to stir this into the flour mixture. Just don't overmix. It's going to be on the drier side, so if you need to use an electric mixer just to get it combined, you could pull it out, but you need it just very quickly in this. And I'm going to do exactly that. So I'm going to have my electric mixer right here. Just get it to where all the wet and the dry is incorporated, and then you're going to stop. And just do this on a low speed. Okay, just want to make sure everything from the bottom kind of comes together. Perfect. We're just going to take the chocolate chips. We're going to add in a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. Put them right in here. And I'm just going to toss this around. And then we're going to put this on a floured board. Okay, so any work surface that you are using would be fine. Okay, and you could see it really does form when you kind of stick it together. You take your hand and kind of grab it together. Okay, so just work this just a little bit. Now I'm just going to dust the cutting board. You won't need extra heavy cream, I promise you. It's the exact recipe that you should use. So lightly dust this with some flour. Take all the dough out and just put it right on top of the flour right here. Just make sure dough is all combined. And we're just going to knead it until it becomes one big ball. So just for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, you're just gonna get this to all come together. Again, it's gonna seem like it's dry, but it will come together. Don't add any more heavy cream, otherwise it will be too wet. Now we're gonna, after these go in the oven, we're gonna make a very simple vanilla glaze, which will be really good to put on top at the end. And it has some powdered sugar, it has some whole milk and some vanilla extract. And if you want to switch it around, chocolate and almonds always go really well together. So you can always take some almond extract and substitute that for the vanilla. Okay, now the dough is coming together. So I want to actually make this into a big ball. And then we're going to cut this into 4 equal size pieces. So I'm going to cut that right in half. And then quarter this. And now each quarter you are going to take and make it into about a 5-inch disc, round disc. Remember these, I'm making these ones as minis, but you can make them large. If you're using to make them large, I would cut them into 8 pieces and just take the whole dough and just press that down. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this right in half and then into quarters. You're going to want to spread these out on the pan. You'll be able to get all of these onto one pan. And these are going to bake in a 375 oven, and they will take close to 15 minutes. Take aluminum foil, put on the rack above so they don't get too dark too quickly. And you could always add different mixes in here. You can add in raisins, dried cranberries to this, nuts. Nuts would be great. So you can really change this around. As far as any wet type of fruit, I wouldn't add it to this type of dough. It really will change the recipe. Dried fruit though would be fine. So dried cherries, dried blueberries, dried strawberries and chocolate, that would be great. Now I'm putting this on a pan with a silicone baking mat. You can use parchment paper, but make sure you use one or the other. So while these are in the oven, we are just going to make our very simple vanilla glaze. Perfect. Make sure you spread them out really good. So let's just put these right into the oven and then make the glaze. So the scones are in the oven. We're just going to take 3/4 of a cup of the confectioner's sugar. Put that right in here. We're going to put in some vanilla extract. So 1/4 teaspoon vanilla extract. And then 1 tablespoon of the whole milk. Since it's just 1 tablespoon, I suggest you put in about a half first, whisk it, and if it's a real nice glaze, then I would not put in any more, but you can always add a little more. You want a nice kind of thick glaze to this, okay, and if you don't have that, just add a little more powdered sugar. So I do need a little bit more milk. It's always better to put in a little less milk to start. Make sure you whisk everything against the side and hit everything right out just like that. That's going to look good. So I can see that if you whisk it really hard, all the lumps will come out and you should have a nice glaze just like this. So when the scones come out, we're going to let them cool. After they cool, you can either dip the scones into the glaze or you can drizzle a little bit on top and then let it just sit for a little bit just so it hardens. So our little mini scones are out of the oven. We have 16 of them and they have cooled. You want to let them cool all the way. 2 ways that you can do this. Just take one of them and just kind of lightly dip it right in there. It'll just form like a nice little crust on it. Or another way is just take a little of this drizzle and put it right on top. So this way you can kind of control if you want just a little hint of it. So whatever way you want to do it, it will be perfect. So I'm just going to put these on this big platter right here. I'm going to do some with a lot on it, some with just a little drizzle, and then some plain, because you always have some people that don't want it too sweet. If you don't want the glaze, just skip that part of the recipe, and that would be it. So everybody, this is the way they will look. I hope you'll make these. And thank you for always watching my classes. And you can always check out my Facebook page, Simply Creative Chef Rob. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.